this. You'll let the intro roll all the way out. I wish there was a way. It's okay. So you hear the lightning and the thunder and everything, and you're sitting there going, "Man, I wish there was a way that I could just go ahead and hit it and bring Dylan Butler in." Okay, so Dylan, let me do a piece of business while we're talking, and so it's a slow news day. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not much going on. It's a lazy day in the soccer world.
And I guess so. We've got a couple of sackings over in Champions League, and first thing I want to talk to you about is what happened in Orlando yesterday. Your initial thoughts when all of that word came across about alleged spying by Orlando City on Sacramento Republic in a public park, getting ready for the U.S. Open Cup final.
So question to make. A guilty pleasure of mine is the old Sky Sports show Dream Team that once was shown in the old days Fox Soccer Channel, right. So about a fictional club called Harchester United. We're in the Premier League, and it was all the drama you would expect, right? Like all these different things, and inside the room, the board drama, and all this match fixing, and all these fun things. I feel like this is straight out of the script of that old tape. I love so much. By the way, I'm kind of I've reintroduced myself to, thanks to the wonderful world of YouTube. But yeah, no, that's right out of it. Right? Like one. It's before a cup final, and you've got a team in it. The match day -1 practice is at a public park, right? Like, when does that happen? Two, suddenly an Orlando City employee maybe jogging in the park. I don't know, getting his exercise in, the footy. Yeah, no, it's. I'll say it almost feels on point that this happened in Orlando, because it just seems that whether it's weather or other things, like just crazy things seem to happen in Central Florida, right? Like I don't, maybe an Alex going to cross the field. It's just I think it's just part and parcel with MLS in Central Florida. So I guess in that sense, not surprised, but if you were not watching this match, if you were a casual, I think you're now. So just a sports fan, right? I think you've got to tune into this match.
Dylan, can you do me a favor? Your signal's kind of double clutching a little bit. Can you log out and log back in?
Yeah, I wonder if it might audio. I will do that and bounce back for you.
Cool. All right. So thank you. I didn't know if it was something that it would work its way through, or it was something we could navigate. But no, I was hearing the double clutching like you all were as well. So I was trying to see if it was something that would fix itself, or we'll see if we can reconnect and connect back in. But yeah, I want to get Dylan's thoughts on all of this. And yes, Alex, I will ask about Newcastle, and we will do all of that. We'll do all of that kind of stuff with Dylan coming up at 8:30 is Melgar and IDV. Okay, so we'll go through all of that. So here's Dylan. Take two.
Any better? You got me? Good.
There it is. All right. So we were talking about it a lot in the first hour, basically the first half hour of the show. And, to me, it's like, if you're the Orlando folks, first off, was the guy wearing something or that said Orlando City on him, although he was recognized by the Sacramento.
Maybe he was wearing like a Kaká jersey.
Yeah, something like that. And it's like, I was likening it to when we were in elementary school and we're staring at the girl in class that we really like. And, you're staring and you're staring and you're staring. And she realizes that you're staring at her. And then she turns and you kind of do this bit, where you're like, you're kind of looking around. It's like, no, I wasn't doing nothing. And
I was thinking of the old, like, I'm a big Seinfeld guy. I was thinking more of the old episode where George gets the job and this is a PG show, so
Is it?
slept with the cleaning lady, and then he got brought into the boss's office, and he's like, "Was that not allowed? Like, I didn't. Is that we can't do that?"
Exactly.
Um, yeah,
I mean, the guy gets recognized apparently for whatever reason, whether it was clothing or, hey, I know that guy, because the soccer community is very, very small. They move, according to Jeff Carlisle, they moved vans in
yeah.
front, and it's like, then the guy's just like, no, I'm just waiting for somebody. I think I'll just keep walking over here a little bit, and just where maybe he could see me, if I'm, outside from the vans or anything like that. It's just the only thing missing was like the whistling. It's just like, oh, there's something going on in front of me. I'll watch for a little bit. No, it's like, no, I'm not watching. I'm here. Can I catch
I think
it?
every controversy these days seems to have a gate attached to it, so I think we need a gate for this too, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's just, but we can't use Spygate.
No. Oh, yeah, that's taken.
That Spygate has been taken. Since you can't use Vangate because the vans weren't intimately involved in the whole process, because they were just
Right, they didn't
using
do anything wrong.
blockers. I mean, is it a cup gate?
That has a good ring to it.
So yeah, I mean, it is it has I guess Cupgate until further notice. So we'll say Cupgate. Outside of Cupgate and
Yeah.
alleged spying and being recognized and wandering around vans and whistling in a park? When you look at this match tonight, is this real? How much of a chance does Sac Republic have in this one?
They've got a great chance because of their history or their lead up to this final, right? Like they've knocked off 3 other MLS teams, and they've knocked off 2 of them at their home ground, right? LA Galaxy and Sporting Kansas City. So why not, right? Like they're going to come in with absolutely no pressure on them at all. They're going to come in, as I alluded to, and to your viewers, like I did that interview with Lee Desmond, and he said his mentality is just going to be, like totally relaxed. Let's just play our game. We're not going to let the occasion dictate how we play. And he's got that experience from playing in last year's Irish Cup final. So there's experienced voices in the locker room. I think they're going to be just fine. Like I don't think it's going to be a raucous atmosphere, obviously, but it feels like you almost wonder, right? Like if this situation, like, is this going to get off to a really like tempestuous start, right? Like, are these teams going to really go after each other right away because of this whole cupgate?
You were looking at our practice, sir. But the thing, you can't leave Luis Felipe alone. You cannot leave him unmarked.
No.
He has been for the rest of the soccer country that hasn't been watching USL Championship. Luis Felipe has done some serious damage to folks in this cup run for Sac Republic. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, right now we were looking at juice boxes, and going into tonight, the 90-minute win for Orlando City is a -217. Your 90-minute draws north of +300. And Sacramento is a +525 to win in regulation. I will take that 90-minute draw and run at a +300. I will take that and go with it. That like I said, that's just me, but I'm just waiting for that's what you get for spying on us. And it's like it turns into Rocky 2 or something. It's like they'll fight right-handed, and then like with 10 minutes to go, they switch back to what the guy saw allegedly in the park, and then they go in and win or something like that.
But, yeah, I mean, like it was already fascinating to me, at least, like we're inside soccer, right? Like, so just the whole lower division team, Orlando never having won a championship. So like those were the storylines that excited us. And then And then this happened now, like I said, to bring in the casual sports fan who, on a Wednesday in early September is like, what am I doing? I have my fantasy draft coming up. Oh, cool. Let's watch this to see if there's any crazy fireworks there. So,
But it's also on ESPN Plus. It's not on the family of
yeah,
networks.
yeah, it's a shame. I wish it was on the network, but
since this is a Wall Pass Wednesday, and we kind of let anything go on the table, there is some news that happened before the top of the hour that before we go, I want to get your thoughts on as we preview the weekend involving Joseph Martinez. Alex Pacine. Alex Pacine wants me to ask you about in the collective, both Alex's and yours, your Newcastle United. How do you feel about the team this year?
By the way, this is like you harken back to school days. This is like the passing notes in class. He wants me to ask you if you can, and then I pass it along back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have Newcastle fans here on the show, and they wanted to have a communal experience with you and ask what you've seen out of Eddie Howe the first couple of times.
Yeah, I like it. The results have been there. There were certainly those tricky fixtures with City and Liverpool in the early goings, and then had zero expectation when they played Man City. Suddenly they're winning in that game early, and you start to think can you actually get 3 points from Manchester City? They didn't, but it's been a positive start. A little bit disappointing on the weekend. Got absolutely screwed by VAR.
Yeah.
The goal that was not awarded was absolutely a push against Palace, but goes to show you that those refereeing decisions aren't unique to MLS. So, and by the way, then they put out a thing. They said, "Oh, we're gonna check. We're gonna take a closer look at that goal."
Yeah.
On 2 days later. Great, good, thank you. Do we get those 2 points that were lost then?
Do you get that back?
That's so great that you were able to look at it. But super positive start. Was and Eddie Howe's already talking about the January window. I thought when the takeover happened that maybe there'd be a little bit more spending than they've done. But can't complain about the way that they've started. It's been a very positive one.
All right, so let's get back into the weekend that was before we get into. Actually, we've got a game tonight. NYC and FC Cincinnati going up against U.S. Open Cup final.
I'm on the call. I'm on the radio call, actually.
Very nice.
Yeah, with Glenn Crooks. Yep.
You and Crooksy. All right, cool. So then let's go for the preview of this one. What in
front of an audience of clearly nobody, because everyone's going to be watching the Open Cup. Listen to the call for us, and then just have the Open Cup match on TV. That's all.
A multimedia experience is what you were calling for this evening.
Correct.
What in the wide world of sports has happened to NYCFC?
Yeah, we spoke about it last week.
It's still happening.
But here's the funny thing, right? If you take a deeper dive into the loss in New England, right? And you even hear it from both of the coaches, Arena and Cushing, and then you even hear it from Pat Noonan. The consensus is that actually NYCFC was the better team, right? They played better. They had better chances. Georgi Petrovic was out of his mind. So the chance creation was very good for NYCFC, not very good for New England, but the defensive deficiencies is what's killing NYCFC, right? You can create 8-10 chances, really, really good chances, and say we're unlucky, but then against the ball, if you're not doing your work, you concede bad goals. And really, you could look at all three of the goals conceded. The first was John Bell taps it in 3-on-7, right? There are 3 New England guys in the box and 7 NYCFC players around him. That just can't be conceded. The Tommy McNamara goal was another one too, where it was a slow roller across the box. How does not one NYCFC player go and get to it before apparently the speedster that is Tommy McNamara does, right? So it's moments like that that they're being punished for. So, but that's the thing that we love about our sport too, right? Like it's judged in different ways. The fans and obviously the bosses as well talk about the results business, right? And the managers kind of look at it more in terms of how we played and what it looked like. And, you could bring in all those stat nerd factors as well. And it's all true, but it's also true that the results haven't been there. So it's 6 out of 7 games lost, which hasn't happened since their expansion season. Mm-hmm. If they weren't as good as they were early in the season, they might be falling out of playoff contention like these other big teams have been, right? So in that sense, this is a massive game for them at Citi Field, where they've had success before, and where FC Cincinnati has never played, right? So you have that aspect of it, where they walk in just sort of, their first time on the field is going to be when they get to the stadium, right? And they walk around and they look around the pitch, and Cincinnati's also never beaten NYCFC, and they'll be without Lucho Acosta to yellow card suspension. So you factor all those things in, and you would say, and I don't know what you can tell me what the odds makers say, but you would say NYCFC has a pretty good chance, I think, of getting something out of this match, but they're not trending that way, right? So that's what kind of makes it an interesting one.
Juice boxes have NYCFC at a -137. Your draw is almost a +300. Cincinnati is almost a +350 right now. So you are right in there as your anticipated favorite. So last week, before we get into the rest of the weekend that will be, Dallas scored like 3 goals in 7 minutes at Minnesota. It's like you leave the room, it's goalless. You come back, it's 3-0.
Yeah.
Philadelphia over Red Bulls 2-0. Philadelphia just continues to do Philadelphia things. Nashville, Hani Mukhtar chose offense again, knocking off Austin 3-0 at Geodis. You've got the Canadian Classique, which was crazy.
Always delivers. I love the Canadian Classique. It's one of my favorite derbies that is in the beer sponsored rivalry week type of situation.
Yes. There you go. But yeah, it was 2-0, then it was 3-2, then it was 4-2 and 4-3. Absolutely crazy. Let me check some real quick on the over-unders on that one. So if you had over-under at 6.5, it was a +1356. So you would have made a dime or two with that total for the Canadian Classique. Also on Sunday, where they had a lot of games, Revs beat NYC 3-0, which got into what we were discussing. Oh, the Panenka with Chicharito. Yeah.
Oh, the Panenka.
Uh-huh.
So so here's the beauty of the Panenka.
Uh-huh.
When you score it, you're like, oh my God, he did the Panenka. Like, it's incredible, right? But when you don't, it's a bad look. It's a bad, and then when you do that with a chance to win a match and you need to get 3 points, you're chasing a playoff spot. Not a good look for Chicharito.
No, and this piece of audio is a great help for those of us who spend time in the booth. Oh, well, of course. So, of course, I have my volume down. I tossed to it and nothing happened. So hang on just a second. Let me see if I can get it right. This time as I hit the
Patrick. ¡Chicharo! ¡Oh, no lo puedo creer! ¡No lo puedo creer! ¡Qué demonios! Pide perdón a los Panenka en un partido 2-2. ¡Hijo de...
That's one of the best pieces of play-by-play that has happened in quite some time. And the thing is, now the Galaxy are further out of chasing the playoffs because of that. The 2 points that they could have had would have put them at 41, which would have put them 3 points out of fifth. Now they're at 39. They're 3 points away from RSL and Portland. So they've got some work to do. And although they do have matches in hand over the folks above them, it could have gone a long way in just doing your thing. So also after that one, LAFC, goalless at the half, beats RSL 2-0. Quakes win.
And Vela doesn't convert a PK on the same night in the same city.
Man,
it wasn't a Panenka, though.
No, it was not. It was not a PK night in Lipstick City for action on the weekend. So matches on the weekend. Since I know we've only got you for another handful of minutes. Let's see. Friday night football. You've got Crew going to Stade Saputo. Then a very, very busy Saturday. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 games. Let's see. Nashville hosting the Galaxy at 3:30. Red Bulls and Revs. Atlanta United, Toronto FC. Union hosting Orlando City. I mean, there's a lot of in-betweens here when it comes to the games on the weekend. MLS After Dark on Saturday night gives you Portland and Minnesota. So it looks like you've got a lot of favorites that should be taking care of business on the road on your Saturday.
Yeah. I think a few other really interesting ones for me is Seattle, Austin, right? Seattle just keeping their playoff hopes alive, thanks to the magical Nuhu.
Yes.
Dallas
LAFC. Major League Soccer, Nuhu. That's your Google search.
Dallas LAFC, I think, is an interesting one as well for me. And yeah, like you said, it ends with Portland, Minnesota. Like it's funny. Like I would almost say it's the same with virtually all of these teams. Like you think that they have it figured out, and then they lay an egg. Like we thought we had Minnesota figured out. Like they were making a run, and as you mentioned, right, Dallas scores those 3 goals in quick succession. So still trying to figure things out. We are seeing more of that separation though, right? Like in the East and the West, where we're kind of fairly confident in teams that aren't getting above the line. The teams battling at the line are less, but I mean, we're straight in the stretch. I would have got like 4 weeks now. It's crazy.
I know.
In the regular season. So a lot of drama, on the field drama out, not the off the field, although the off the field is coming up here as well, clearly as well.
Yeah. And so before you go, news came out at the top of the hour. Joseph Martinez for Atlanta United has been suspended for a game for conduct detrimental to the team, expected to rejoin team activities September 12. Will miss the match against Toronto FC on Saturday. And this is from The Athletic, the article with a bit of a breakdown. Stems from an altercation between Martinez and Atlanta United head coach Gonzalo Pineda that took place after the 2-1 loss to Portland on Sunday. Sources familiar with the situation said that Martinez walked into the visitors' locker room after the match and in frustration knocked over a catering table. At the time, Pineda was inside a room reserved for coaches, but following the commotion, Pineda stepped into the players' locker room, confronted Martinez. According to several sources, Martinez and Pineda had to be physically separated, with one source adding, quote, "It went downhill from there," end quote. So another part of the saga with another part involving Atlanta United this year, not in a good way.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't seem like again from the way outside here, coming from New York, it doesn't feel like those two are on the same page, right? Or it does seem like they're at loggerheads. Certainly, we had the whole situation earlier where Joseph was very vocal, then he doesn't start the next match. Are they a better team without him starting? He's not the same Joseph as he's been. He clearly wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's not happy with what he sees. Pineda still has that streak in him as well, right? That fiery streak. So, it's super interesting. And I think it's one also to follow going forward, right? Like, who survives this, right? Like, we heard Joseph say he's got a year left on his contract. does Pineda come through too? So I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and then obviously the news with Miles Robinson that happened as well, and we talked about that at the very, very beginning of the show. Not a whole lot of information out there. There have been some outlets like Pro Soccer Wire that have published the arrest report, and that's basically about it. Atlanta United came out with a statement about what happened with Miles over the weekend. So there's more that we don't know where Miles is concerned than we do where Miles is concerned. And so it's just something else that we addressed at the beginning of the show. And I know that folks are kind of drifting in and out where our coverage is concerned, but I just wanted to add that to what we've been discussing this morning as well. So it's been a very busy morning where Atlanta United's concerned, Dylan.
For sure, and we haven't even talked about the sacking here in Houston, which
true. Paul McGraw, right?
Like that's such a mess. Like I don't. We can we don't really have the time to go super in depth in it, but what I will say is, I didn't like the hire to begin with, right? I know that's going to sound like a Monday morning quarterback.
Right.
I didn't think you upgraded from Tab Ramos. Like I was a Tab Ramos fan. I understood certainly why that move was made, but I don't think you got better in that situation by going Nagamura.
Right.
That said, a really bad look for Houston, right? Like you don't even give the guy a year,
right?
With the new GM, with new players in, and I feel like if you're trying to get candidates for that job, I think the warning signs are there, right? Like, do you really want to go there?
Yeah.
If you're a manager with, I don't know if it's the ownership or like, I assume, right? Like, cause they're the ones who make a move like this. Like that's a bad look for Houston, right? Like where, we've seen so many turns and so many, 2.0, 4.0, 12.0, whatever we're at now with Houston. Bad look, I think, for them making the move as early as they did.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of times when you have a new owner in a new front office, they want to do things in their way. And they, Ted Siegel brought in Ache, you brought in Ferreira. You have obviously this anticipation level kind of going to what we were talking about this morning with Thomas Tuchel and Tommy Two Seasons, as one of our listeners nicknamed him this morning.
I like that.
With Bowley Clearlake, there's an expectation of, hey, this is how we want to do things. You need to be a part of this process. Tuchel was like not really into it, and then it just got to a point to where it was untenable in the Chelsea relationship. But I think that where Nagamura is concerned, I'm with you. I would, and you've only had 5 matches left in the season anyway. What is there that's a part of this that it's like, why don't you go ahead and see the season out with Nagamura and then have discussions and figure out, okay, how do we address this and work our way forward early next season? And then if the problems are still there, then perhaps go in a continuous direction. What you were thinking this week, do that early next year. But, new owners and new front offices, they have this vision in their mind, and it just has not worked across the board in Houston so far.
I think if anything, it proves my initial point that he wasn't the right guy to hire to begin with, right? But like I said, that said, like to make the move when he did, like doesn't really, to me, show confidence even to the next guy coming in that who's to say that's not going to happen to them. So
why would I want to go to this place if I'm seeing what they're doing in their current environment? It doesn't make it all that a desirable destination.
No, not at all.
So what's going on with Dylan Butler other than calling the match tonight, and how we'll actually promote that, and then what else is going on with you?
Yeah, so I'll be joining Glenn Crooks on the call. We've got our Facebook Live at 7 o'clock and pregame at 7:45. Opening kick is 8:08 tonight. Red Bull, NYCFC, Cincinnati, so that should be a fun one. On Monday, I had a really cool story. If you like dogs and you like soccer, which we all do, OSDB Sports.com, I profiled it's Murphy Ham is the name of the dog.
Okay.
Tracy Ham is the head coach of UC Davis's women's soccer team.
Okay.
And Murphy Ham, to my dog, who is on a coaching staff as an emotional wellness support staff. And it's such a cool story for me because she said that Murphy has aided players to return back from injury quicker, provided mental health help as well to players. We all know the struggles that there are in that, especially for college students, right? Student athletes, Division I student athletes. So Murphy's there, man, for all of them. It's like such a cool story, just telling that a little bit. And only one time did Murphy. Now Murphy's on the sideline, right? He's a super chill, cool dog. He's a pit mix rescue.
Okay.
Only once though, Tracy said, she had words with an official. She got into it a little bit, and she said she sensed Murphy like right next to her, and the referee, because he was a local referee, knew Murphy. Everyone knows Murphy in those parts, and said, "Whoa, Murph, it's okay, it's okay," and that actually, calmed down the situation, right? Like she might have been facing a yellow, and everybody sort of laughed about that. So it was it's a pretty cool story. Check it out on OSDBsports.com.
Well done. Have a fantastic call tonight, and I know that you will be having a multi-screen experience, keeping an eye on Open Cup as well as you and Crooksy are doing NYCFC and FC Cincinnati. Thanks for hanging out with us again. We'll catch up with you next week. Save the voice. Take the throat coat tea with you. We'll catch up with you next week.
Cheers.